Right now, everybody is sitting online having in-depth debates about Diddy's trial, and Diddy did this, and Diddy did that, and did you see what Cassie said, and Kid Cudi this, and whoever else's testimony, Jamie Foxx and all of that other whatnot, and they're having all of these discussions about whether this is true or whether that's true, or whether Cassie's telling the truth, or she's a liar, or she's a victim, or she's a participant, and they have opinions about her husband and whether or not he's a good guy or a simp or whatever other nonsense like that. Similarly, people are also sitting around talking about Tory Lanez and Megan the well-endowed male horse. Look up the definition of stallion if you're not sure why I said that. And is he guilty or is he innocent, or is she telling the truth, or is she a liar and her friend and bodyguards and evidence and incarceration and all of that whatnot. Similarly, people are also sitting around talking about tariffs and are they good, are they bad, and what's the benefit and who's paying for it, and what is going on with China, and America needs China, China doesn't need America, or America doesn't need China, China needs America. Whatever your angle or your take is, it is some variant of a discussion going on currently. And more nonsensically, people are talking about things like, can 100 men beat up a gorilla, or what happens if an ant hits you flying at 10 billion miles an hour, and all kinds of nonsense of that sort. And the important thing to remember when it comes to all of this is none of this affects your life in any way whatsoever. Whether Diddy is innocent or guilty has nothing to do with you. Whether Cassie is a liar or a victim has nothing to do with you. What Tory Lanez and Megan the male horse have done have nothing to do with you. The tariffs maybe in some capacity have something to do with you, but you discussing it will serve you none. None of this is anything that you should be spending your time talking about. Yes, if I'm not 100% certain what it is that Diddy is being accused of, or the ins and outs of his charges, as I'm sure most of the people discussing it are also not. But if he is guilty of an actual crime, he should be arrested and he should pay for that. I'm not saying that he should not. If Tory Lanez did not commit a crime against the dude horse, then he should be released from prison. I'm not saying that he should not. But what I am saying is, it is not your job to figure these things out. It is not your job to discuss these things. It is not your job to focus on these things. It is not your job to investigate these things. This is some other people's job. And you having some sort of vested interest in this contributes absolutely nothing. Because if you sit at home and you crack the case and you find all kinds of old videos of Diddy that you want to use to paint him as some sort of weirdo, which maybe he is, who knows. But if you want to find these clips and use that to paint him as this, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. If you want to take Biggie lyrics from before and apply them to think that he was talking about Puff Daddy, that's amazing, but it doesn't mean anything. What you discover means nothing. You can have all the conversations in the world that you want about Tory Lanez and Megan the male horse, but it does absolutely nothing. You could figure out exactly what it is that truly happened, and you know what? It will mean nothing. It doesn't matter. You can have the most nuanced, in-depth, well-thought-out, and well-researched discussion about tariffs and come to the conclusion about who is truly right and what should truly be happening, and it won't matter. It makes zero bit of a difference. Much more obviously so, if you come up with the best answer about whether or not 100 men can beat up a gorilla, that means nothing. That's absolutely pointless, period, because it's a hypothetical thought experiment that means nothing, that does nothing. All of this means nothing. What you should be focused on is you, is your life, is yourself, not all of this other stuff that you can't affect or that does not affect you. Because at the end of the day, if Diddy goes to jail or if Diddy walks free, your life will not change. If Tory Lanez is released or Tory Lanez walks free, your life will not change. If the tariff things, which is the only thing that might have some mild effect on your life, but probably not as a whole, changes, or they get adopted, or they get dropped, or they get raised, or they get lowered, or they get whatever it is that they are supposedly doing, it will not change your life at all. And that one, again, maybe has some bearing on your life, but you having a discussion about it has no impact on it, period. That's going to be what it is, and you need to live in the world that creates, period. If it raises stuff, that's the world that you need to live in. If it lowers stuff, that's the world that you get to live in. But either way, you spending your time and your energy focused on this will do absolutely nothing for you whatsoever. If you are not in shape, it's not going to get you in shape. If you are not making money, it's not going to make you money. If you are not where you want to be in life, it's not going to put you where it is that you want to be in life. What you should be focused on is yourself. Are you fat? You should fix that. Are you poor? You should fix that. Do you have a bad personality? You should fix that. Do you have no confidence? You should fix that. Because the truth that everybody wants to sidestep and look around is that the only way that you can ever have any degree of effect on the world, the only thing that you could ever do to affect any sort of change is to become the best version of yourself. Whatever that might look like to you, you need to become the fully optimized version of you if you truly care about all of these things. If you are somebody who truly cares about people facing justice for their alleged crimes, then dedicate yourself to becoming somebody who is able to bring them to justice. You can go become a lawyer. You could become a prosecutor, which I'm aware is a variant of a lawyer. You could become an investigator. You could become a politician. You could become another thing that I can't think of right now. Hell, you could become a journalist and actually have some degree of integrity. You could become any one of these things, and then you can actually affect whether or not these things happen. You can actually affect whether or not people face justice for their crimes, but you sitting around online discussing it does not change anything. Furthermore, it does not make you a good person because you sit there and talk about, I want to see people who commit crimes go to jail. Nobody cares. Nobody cares what it is that you want to see. You are not actually a good person unless you are doing something to actively contribute to it in tweeting or threading or Instagramming or Facebooking or whatever else it is that you are not doing in somebody else's comment section is not contributing to that. In fact, it's actually taking away from it. It's actually doing the opposite, because if this was something that truly mattered to you, you could be spending this exact same time bettering yourself and putting yourself in a position where you can actually affect something about this. If you believe that Tory Lanez is wrongfully incarcerated, then you could become an advocate for prison reform. Actually, not just somebody who tweets about it, but you could be somebody who works towards these things and actually do something. Again, you could become a lawyer and try to help people out with this, but you're not doing that. You're just sitting there talking, throwing your 2 cents out into the world because you don't actually want to do anything. And it's much easier to pontificate and have these discussions on the internet than it is to do anything in actual life. These things are much easier than working on yourself. These things are much easier than bettering your situation so that you can actually affect some sort of change. Because if you take the time to become the best version of you, that will have a ripple effect. It will have an effect on the people around you, and they will be inspired to better themselves, and they in turn will inspire other people to better themselves, and they in turn will inspire other people to better themselves, and so on and so forth. It's a rock thrown into a metaphorical pond that will ripple outwards and have actual effects other than you just sitting there talking. Because again, at the end of the day, these discussions have nothing to do with you, and everybody is so caught up in everything but what has something to do with them. It's very easy to complain on the internet. If you are a Trump hater, it is very easy to say he is terrible and he's doing all of these things with the tariffs, and that's fine that you think that, but who cares? Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect anything. It doesn't change anything, because he's doing what it is that he's doing, and you can do absolutely nothing about it because you are a nobody, because you haven't taken the time to make yourself into a somebody. If you are a Trump supporter, it's very easy to come up with all of this stuff and say it's very amazing that he's doing these tariff things, but at the end of the day, none of that matters either, because it's going to be what it's going to be regardless of how it is that you feel about it. If you ignored all of these things, the outcome would be exactly the same. But if you ignore yourself, that will have a vastly or drastically different outcome. Because while you could be making yourself into somebody, who has money and won't be affected by the tariffs because you make a bunch of money and can afford things, so it wouldn't really be that big of a deal if things cost a little bit more. While you could be getting in shape so you don't have to walk around being all fat and worrying about the cost of healthcare because you are a healthy person. You're sitting there focusing all of your energy on other people that has nothing to do with you and having nonsensical discussions like what happens if somebody gets hit by an ant. Who cares? That's not going to happen. If it does happen to you, then either nothing is going to happen or you're going to die terribly, but it's not something that you can affect. There are a lot of things in this world that you can affect, and namely, it is you. It is what you do. It is what you dedicate yourself to. It is what you commit yourself to. It is the work that you put into you. That's the only thing that you can affect. Now, it's a lot of things, but it's also only one thing. And if you're not going to do that, every single other thing is a waste of time. I know that when Twitter came out, they were talking about joining the discussion, and that fooled everybody into thinking that their opinion about random stuff matters. But it does not, because you don't matter. Your opinion holds no weight if you don't hold any weight. And the reason that you don't hold any weight is because rather than making yourself into somebody of relevance, you are spending your time talking about other people of relevance. Put all of that energy towards yourself, and then first and foremost, you will actually be qualified to speak on these things, because as a spectator, none of what you have to say matters anyway, because you are just somebody sitting there watching. Everybody watching the football game knows exactly what the quarterback should do, knows exactly which way the running back should go, knows exactly which way that, I don't know any other positions in football, cornerbacks, linebackers, football people. They know what all the football people on the field should do. But they're not doing it themselves, so it doesn't matter. It only matters if you are going to participate in these things. So the next time you open up your phone and you go to your timeline on whatever your app of choice is, and you see somebody having discussions about all of this pop culture stuff, about all of this stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with you, disregard that and put your stupid little phone away and work on yourself. Go do some push-ups. Go start a business. Go make some money. Go be nice to people in your life, and that will create some sort of positivity and give you good karma back. Go give a random person on the street $10. Go fucking find some old lady to help carry her groceries. Go drive around and find somebody on the side of the road and help them fix their tire. Do something productive, because all of this stuff is not it. You are not an ally because you tweet or thread or whatever about your random causes. You are not an activist because you share posts. If you're not actually doing anything, none of it matters. And again, at the end of the day, none of it affects you. Diddy's fate has nothing to do with your own fate. The only thing that you are doing with it, or that it is doing, is preventing you from becoming better, because you're focused on that rather than focusing on yourself. Dedicate yourself to something that matters, which is you. That's not selfish. In fact, anything other than becoming the best version of yourself is what is selfish. You want to talk about all of these other things. It doesn't matter if you're informed. It doesn't matter what it is that you know. All that matters is what it is that you do. Period.